Hello again, everyone. Welcome back. Today's presentation is called Eric Dubay, the 2-Minute Wonder. It's a response to a video that, against all better judgment, he has recently made. It's called The Flat Earth Explained and Proven in 2 minutes. Explained and proven. Hey, could you be any farther away with the camera? Hello? And cut the house lights. Much better. Alright, let's get started.
The azimuthal equidistant projection map that the USGS actually uses is the flat Earth map.
No, the azimuthal equidistant projection map is an azimuthal equidistant projection map. It's just one way of showing all the countries of the world on one sheet of paper. The USGS actually uses many maps. Like this one. And this one. And this one. Many different maps for many different purposes. Would you like to know what map they don't use? That would be this one. Do you know why they don't use this one? Because it was not made up based on observations of the natural world around us. It was made as a pictorial representation of your flat Earth babble.
The UN logo is another example of it. The UN logo is actually a flat Earth map, divided into 33 Masonic sections, by the way.
Oh, those wacky Freemasons are at it again. It's a logo that needed to be inclusive of all the nations on Earth. Can you think of a better way to do that?
But you can just type in flat Earth map on Google. It's a disc shape. The North Pole is in the center. All the continents go out from there.
Yes, on that flat Earth map, that's what happens. I already explained where those came from. I'm waiting for you to figure out that a map is just a two-dimensional representation of a three-dimensional object. Certain distortions have to occur in order to do that.
And Antarctica, instead of being a ice continent on the bottom of the globe, it actually surrounds us 360 degrees.
Okay, now you're just saying stuff without any evidence to support it. We're getting pretty far into this video of yours, and you would promise to explain and prove, both explain and prove, the flat Earth. Doesn't look like anything of that sort is happening yet.
And how far that ice goes outwards is unknown at this point.
Of course it's unknown, because you don't do any actual research. You just sit in your basement getting more fish belly white by the day, watching YouTube videos and reading ancient text.
So there's a cover-up. That's what the Antarctic Treaty is all about. That's why you can't independently explore Antarctica. And when people like Jarl Anderhoy try to go down there, they get turned away at gunpoint and put in prison. So there's a big cover-up there in Antarctica as well.
He's right, you can't really visit Antarctica. Oh, unless you call these guys. Or any one of the other organizations that's participating in the booming Antarctic tourist trade. Anderhoy was not turned away at gunpoint either. As a matter of fact, he was scooting around Antarctica with one of his crew, while the 3 remaining crew members on the boat drowned. His expeditions were mounted without insurance or authorization. The purpose of the Antarctic Treaty is to ensure, in the interest of all mankind, that Antarctica shall continue forever to be used exclusively for peaceful purposes and shall not become the scene or object of international discord. But let's see what kind of evil deeds these Freemason treaty makers were up to. Environmental concerns. That doesn't seem too nefarious. Rules protecting the flora and fauna. Oh my, rules about waste disposal. And prevention of marine pollution. If anyone is interested in the actual treaty, as well as the rules of any meetings and decision-making processes, here's the web address. You can take a look. So Eric, it might do you some good to learn something about the topic you're discussing before you discuss it. just to make sure that the information necessary to debunk your garbage is not freely available.
I don't know how far the ice goes, whether there's an edge, a barrier, a dome, or infinite plane, but what we do know is that the Earth and the water is completely flat.
The water is level, not flat. Learn the difference. As for the Earth being completely flat, that kind of precludes mountains and valleys and such, doesn't it? You might want to talk to your speechwriter.
For as far as we can see and as far as we've measured, and the horizon is completely flat.
Of course it is. That's how spheres work. There's a circle around the observer at the vanishing point. If you're on a relatively perfect sphere, it will be flat all the way around you.
As far up as we go, all amateur rockets and all amateur balloons sent up over 20 miles, as high as they can go, the horizon is flat all the way around. And it rises to the camera all the way up. It rises to the level of the camera. Now, this is totally impossible on a ball. No matter how big the ball was, as you rise up, you have to look down to see the curvature. Look down to see the horizon. But what actually happens if you go up in a hot air balloon, the horizon rises right on up with you, the whole way up. Just keeps on coming up at eye level, as high as you're going to go. That's just impossible on a ball. If you think about it, if you're on a ball and you're in a hot air balloon or an airplane, you should not be able to see out your window, straight out your window, the horizon. You should have to look down, further and further down, the higher you ascend to be able to see that horizon. But you'll never look down to the horizon on the Earth. It will always rise up to your level.
Okay, we've come to the tail end of his video, and we finally get to something that sounds like a proof. Of course, it isn't actually a proof because, well, it's a lie. Why we don't perceive the angle of drop of the horizon with the modest altitudes we commonly attain is because it is a small angle. Our eyes are constantly making small movements to compensate for the blind spot that is created by the nerve bundle connecting to the retina. Our heads do not remain fixed in the same position as we make small adjustments for balance and adjustments to focus on what we are paying attention to. Evolution did not give us eyes that are capable of discerning a small degree of change in angle. Evolution gave us eyes that track things. Now, let's find out just how we discover what that angle of drop is. You'll notice on the screen behind me, there is a right triangle inscribed on what represents the Earth. The observer is at the point, the one end of the hypotenuse, at the top of the image. That short leg of the right triangle at the top ends up being the distance to the observable horizon, and the angle in between the hypotenuse and that leg is the angle of drop that we would observe. Here is the formula we would use to do that. In this formula, r is the radius of the Earth, and h is your elevation above the surface of the Earth. An average value of r would be 20,936,200 feet. And let's assume our elevation above the surface of the Earth is 40,000 feet. Using the formula, we come up with a downward drop of about 3.54 degrees. Hardly a large drop. Okay, so what have we learned today? Well, we have learned that Mr. Eric Dubay loves just making shit up. And thank you all for joining us once again. See you next time.